would you rob a bank for me if I was pooping in the shower? And you said...
I did say yes.
Yes. So... Hey everyone, I'm Jay.
And I'm Sean.
And we watched a movie.
We sure did.
Called Cherry on Apple TV.
Starring Spider-Man.
Starring Spider-Man and directed by some Spider-Man directors.
True. The
Some
Russo brothers.
MCU directors anyway. So they are familiar with Tom Holland. And they brought him over for their first non-MCU movie in quite some time. So they did Civil War, they did Infinity War, and then they did Endgame. And now they've done Cherry for Apple TV, which is adapted from Nico Walker's novel. And the character of Cherry is based on himself and some of the experiences he went through. And he went through some stuff.
He did.
So when we first meet Cherry, and I feel like I went through this whole movie not understanding that Cherry was his name.
Yeah, I didn't understand that either.
Okay. In fact, there was a line in the movie and I was like, that's why they call it Cherry. No, apparently his name was Cherry. At least that is what his name is listed as on IMDb, and I am inclined to believe them.
Well, there's no reason not to, but it's weird.
Not, but it's weird. Anyways, Tom Holland in this is a young man named Cherry. We meet him when he's in college. He meets the girl of his dreams, Emily. But when she's a skittish young woman, and I think she feels like they're getting too close and it scares her off, so she decides to transfer schools to Montreal. And what is the totally reasonable thing that he does?
Goes to Iraq.
Right, sure.
Signs up for the army.
Join the army, as you do when you're going through a breakup.
Yeah, don't join the army.
Probably not.
Don't join the army.
Tough.
It's awful.
He doesn't like it.
No.
Surprise.
No one likes it. It's not good for you.
It's not good for you. So Cherry does join the army. He winds up in Iraq. He's a medic. Which basically means he's running into all the worst stuff and seeing all of his good friends.
Intestines.
Right. He gets to hold those.
Yeah.
So it's tough. And, that's not a good war from any perspective. A lot of people came back pretty damaged from Iraq because lots of stuff went down and not for any great reason.
No. Well, that's and it's not over. I mean, nothing is changed. Mm-hmm. They could go back there tomorrow and have to deal with the same problems and not solve anything then.
Right.
But one thing does solve problems, and that's opioids.
Okay. So, in fact, when Cherry returns home, Emily is there waiting for them. They're young newlyweds now, but her love can't save him from PTSD. And PTSD is like the new thing. Like, it seems like everyone's coming back with PTSD.
Well, how could you not?
A pretty good indicator, that maybe things are not totally above board when it's that disturbing to have to live with the stuff that's going on. So, so Cherry is like spiraling downward quickly, getting harder and harder to live with and to love. And so when he starts taking some pills, some happy pills, because the doctor's pretty quick to prescribe him
Oxys,
even though mental pain is the number one thing, and Oxy was never meant for that whatsoever. But they don't actually have great resources for returning war vets.
No, they don't.
As it turns out.
And we know that doctors were prescribing Oxy
Yeah.
for anything because they're being treated pretty well by the drug companies.
Oh, big time. So Oxy it leads, I think, pretty quickly to heroin.
Yeah.
Which is also widely available. But also kind of expensive. I mean, affordable enough to get you hooked. But long term, it's a pricey addiction.
Sure.
Because you need it.
Do it all the time.
All the time. It's like me and Diet Pepsi. But they do. They need it all the time.
Yeah.
And the thing is that it's not just Cherry. His wife also turns to it. And, you know, to give her due, she is also going through a very hard time.
Yes, she is.
And so they're both now leaning on heroin.
Heroin and bank robbing.
Well, okay. The bank robbing is not just recreational.
No.
Yes, it's to support their new habit. Because it's expensive and he's not super employable.
No.
In his present state.
No. No, even without the drugs, he wouldn't be employable.
Well, you know, he's having a hard time.
He's messed up.
Yes. I don't know how she was keeping a job.
Yeah, she was for a while. She was teaching or
Or something like that, yes.
Yeah.
Surprisingly,
it wouldn't have lasted very
no.
long. Yeah.
Anyway, so yes, the downward spiral, every time you think they must be near rock bottom, it can go further.
It gets worse,
And it's really sad because we met these kids when they were in college and they're a couple of pretty good kids. But it's just like bad decision, bad decision, bad decision.
Yeah.
You know, they're always taking the wrong path. So you do, I think, have some sympathy for what they're going through.
Yes.
And yet, and maybe this is because they're somewhat likable characters. It's just so frustrating to see them keep choosing the wrong thing. So guess what? This is a hole that's going to be really tough / impossible to dig yourself out of. You know, if heroin addiction is not already a tough thing, bank robbing really puts you on a certain path.
It does.
Ooh, boy.
To
And
prison.
like, yes. And bank robbing is hard to pull off sober. So just imagine when you're not, when you're so deeply disturbed and high, and then now you're wielding a gun in a bank.
Yeah.
And surrounding yourself
With others who
with other
have
junkies,
similar issues.
yeah. So this is it's that movie.
It's that movie. You know it's not going to go well.
It's
and
not.
it may take you by surprise just how badly it goes.
Right. So did you like it?
It's hard to like.
Okay.
I feel like the story is better than the movie.
Okay.
Like, this is a story that should be told, that is not unique to the writer, that lots of people in the US and Canada have gone through something similar or know someone who has, as far as the addictions and the PTSD. And we don't see a lot of that. I felt like the movie was like very upfront about that it's bad. And it's not these guys' fault. For, you know, they have no good options, and I think the movie does a good job of showing that, but it's just hard to watch. It's really hard to watch. And so I didn't really enjoy it. No.
Didn't have fun watching Spider-Man. And Ciaro Bravo plays Emily, and she is Abby on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So actually, they already exist together in the MCU, have not shared screen time in the MCU, but they have shared it here. Also, Tom Holland's brother, Harry Holland, has a cameo as a drug dealer. And I thought it was funny because they noted that he would reprise the cameo in the next Spider-Man No Way Home movie. But I was like, he's probably not playing a drug dealer. But
that would be out of character for the Spider-Man movies, yeah. It's more of a Daredevil thing.
Oh. Well, who knows what Spidey's having to deal with.
That's true.
So was it Fear and Loathing that you were comparing it to?
Yeah, it felt like a lot of the shots of them being high and trying to bank rob were kind of reminiscent of the bumbling idiocy of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, without the humor. You can't laugh at this.
No, this is pretty dark, and the characters are pretty realistic.
Yeah.
You know, they're bumbling because they're high and they're sad and they're, you know,
They're not in a good place.
They're
They should not be
not.
robbing banks or doing anything. They should not be driving cars.
No. But they're just getting in worse and worse
Yeah.
situations, and they owe all this money, and they,
Well, they keep robbing banks and they just give it directly to their dealer.
Mm-hmm.
They're not keeping any of this money either.
no, I mean, it is true so much. You don't get rich from most of these enterprises. And then you just are committed to this lifestyle now. So,
Yeah.
not great to start down that path if
No.
you could avoid it.
No.
But he felt he could not avoid it.
Yeah.
I felt like it was perhaps, I think when you see your wife poop in the shower,
That's when you call it a day.
that's when, no, that's when he started. I asked you even then, would you rob a bank for me if I was pooping in the shower? And you said,
I did say yes.
yes. So, thank you for that.
Yeah.
I appreciate.
You're
The
welcome.
support?
Yep. Enabling?
But yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, yes, it's enabling. But the thing is, they're
There's
sick,
battle-
right? If they're
battle
not
to it.
constantly doing the heroin, they get sick. They
Yeah.
get very sick, and that's what was happening to her. So
Right.
to get her more dope, he hustles. He's
Yeah.
got to start getting that money.
He provides.
Right. And that's all I'm asking for
Yep.
as your beloved wife.
And I'm happy to do it.
And I just want to say, even maybe before the shower poops.
Yes, right.
'Cause I-
Just anticipate that need.
I'm not into
That's
that.
really top notch.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before.
Before, yes.
That would be preferable.
Okay, we'll do that.
Okay. So I thought, the story is very interesting. And the intersection between returning war veterans and the opioid crisis, this is all post 2001 sort of stuff
That's
that
right, yep.
we're dealing with at the same time. So a lot of these people were treating one problem with another problem, another really big problem.
Yeah.
And that's probably important to note is that, this addiction gets first, not just fueled, but it started with a prescription.
That's right. His doctor
Yes.
said this was a good idea for him.
Right. And where is that doctor when everything goes downhill?
Counting his money.
Yes. Taking a free vacation, probably. So it is really tough to see young people be torn apart like that. And clearly do not have a lot of support in their lives, and
Yeah.
not super fun. But I did think the cinematography was wonderful. I thought Tom Holland had plenty of space to show his excellent range as an actor, and he did that for sure.
That's
He was
true. He was very good.
impressive, yeah. I thought Ciaro Bravo did not have as much to do.
Well, she's a very secondary character.
She did poop in a shower.
Yeah. So that's worth something.
Yeah. Is this a surprising follow-up to Endgame?
Yes.
Okay.
On all parts.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, fair
It's,
enough.
I guess you just try and do something very different so you don't get boxed in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, mission accomplished in that respect.
Guess
It's
so.
different.
It is very different. I think the Russos have had an interesting career from comedy and then these big tentpole superhero movies, and then to go back to a very dark drama, drugs, addiction, war, it was very intense.
Yep.
It definitely had flavors of movies I've seen before. The boot camp stuff, the war
Right.
stuff, it looked familiar. And that's why I thought the cinematography was really interesting, because it felt familiar, it looked terrific. And even you thought it looked sometimes like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and they were taking some risks. It's not just a standard movie. It does do some weird stuff at some points, which is interesting. It's always
It is. Yeah.
nice to have something thrown in that kind of takes you by surprise and makes sure you're paying attention. But I don't think I loved this movie. And I can't really say why. Is it just a problem that it's just doom and gloom and a bit soul shattering to watch?
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like that's not the only thing.
So there are some flaws in the filmmaking.
Or maybe it just doesn't bring something new that it needed to. Because you're saying it reminded you of other movies.
Yes. Well, that, I did feel that way. I did feel like, you know, we've been here a lot. This is a story we tell of returning vets a lot and how difficult it is. And yeah, it didn't really bring a new something to the table. I just felt so desperate and so sad, and that may be true, but what else is there to say about it?
Yeah.
So I would have liked to have seen that. It's also pretty long.
Yeah,
It's told in like chapters with a prologue and an epilogue, so every time you think you're done with it, there's a little bit more.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for just a little bit more.
That whole epilogue was really a surprise.
So over the course of like 20 years, this film practically covers, maybe not quite 20 years, but Tom Holland does get aged up. And I thought he was looking a little bit like Jason Sudeikis by the end.
Golden Globes, yeah.
Yes! And you know, I never thought Jason Sudeikis was not good looking, but this feels like an insult, so I feel a little bad about that. But yeah, I think Cherry is something, if you're interested, you have to see for yourself. But just know, it's not a big tentpole movie. It's not gonna wow you with all of, you know, the action and adventure. It's more about staying in a real dark apartment and just scraping the underbelly of a tough life. So not an uplifting movie.
No, do not expect that.
Yeah, but Tom Holland is very good.
Yes, he is.
He's been branching out in his like non-MCU
Yes, he
roles,
has.
So.
And he's been keeping busy.
Yes,
he's been
he
doing
has.
a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. And keep doing it, Tom.
Oh, okay. So that is. Oh, we didn't even mention Sean's doing a little cosplay, a little Cherry cosplay.
I am.
Noticed Cherry's drug dealer. I said, Sean, didn't you have that exact outfit somewhere? And he went and like dug it up out of his closet.
I do have it.
Thank you for that, dear.
I'm qualified for the lifestyle.
Ooh, okay. So we better throw these shirts out, is what you're saying.
I think so. Yeah, I don't think
they're officially,
again.
you haven't seen them on you in quite some time.
Yeah.
And yes, now it's definitely dead to us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, it is on Apple TV. Cherry is on Apple TV. So if you got Apple TV, you can check it out. It's not too bad, guys. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.